According to a Harvard Business School study, 75% of venture-backed startups fail. Even more staggering, over 90% of new businesses don't survive past 5 years. But here's the truth: failure is not the end, it's often the beginning of a greater success. Some of the most successful people in history, including biblical figures, experienced devastating failures before achieving their greatest victories. Today, we'll explore how to monetize and profit from business failures using timeless biblical principles and real-life examples of those who turn their setbacks into comebacks. Part 1. Understanding failure from a biblical perspective. Failure is part of God's plan. Isaiah 43:19 says, "See, I am doing a new thing." Your story of failure and triumph can be a powerful testimony. Sarah Blakely, the founder of Spanx, wrote about her failures in handwritten sales pitches, and now Spanx is worth $1.2 billion. You can get paid to speak at TEDx events and business conferences. You can license your story to filmmakers for documentaries or even Netflix series. Faith over fear. Joshua 1-9 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you. Don't let fear cripple you. Trust God's plan and believe in your ability to overcome." Just as God turned Joseph's betrayal into a billion-dollar empire, He can do the same for you. Start today, journal your lessons, monetize your experience, pray for wisdom, and watch what God does. Remember, the greatest profits often come from the hardest losses. Philippians 4:13 reminds us, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." You can start a Failure is Not the End podcast and monetize it with sponsors like QuickBooks, Shopify, and more. In the parable of the talents, those who invested and multiplied their money were rewarded. Proverbs 11:14 says, "Victory is won through many advisors." Don't go at it alone. Lean on your network for support and guidance. Airbnb's founders once sold Obama and McCain cereal boxes to make money. Now their company is worth over $100 billion. When you experience failure, don't waste the lessons learned. Invest them in your next venture and watch it grow. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? And a time to give up, a time to keep, and a time to throw away. Resist the devil and he will flee. Resist him and he will scatter. You can take your experience and create a business around helping others avoid your mistakes. You could start a failure recovery consulting firm, or you could start a YouTube channel where you document your journey of turning failure into profits. These channels can be monetized through AdSense and sponsorships. Sometimes the best thing you can do is cut your losses and move on, but other times you can repurpose what you have. Nokia, for example, failed in the smartphone business, but now earns $2 billion per year from selling telecom patents. You can sell unused equipment on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, and other sites. You can license old business plans or code to startups, and you can even turn failed ideas into case studies and sell them to business schools. When your business fails, don't just give up. Look at Stuart Butterfield. His failed gaming company Glitch led him to create Slack, which was sold to Salesforce for $27.7 billion. You can use the assets from your failed business and pivot into a new venture. For example, if you had a failed fitness app, you could leverage that experience to create a corporate wellness consulting firm. Proverbs 20:16 says, "For though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again." Even more encouraging, Romans 8:28 says, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him." Look at Colonel Sanders. KFC was rejected over 1,000 times before his chicken recipe was accepted. At age 65, he turned his failure into a billion-dollar franchise. Or consider Steve Jobs, who was fired from Apple in 1985, only to return and lead it to become the world's most valuable company. Failure is not final. It's a setup for a comeback. B. Biblical examples of failure leading to success. In the Bible, we see Joseph sold into slavery, falsely accused, imprisoned, yet became Egypt's prime minister. Peter denied Jesus 3 times but later became a foundational church leader. Turn lessons into teachable content. And to Corinthians 1:2, for the Bible says, "Who comforts us in all our troubles." so that we can comfort those in any trouble. When you experience a significant business failure, you have an opportunity to become a failure guru in that industry. Think about Brian Scudamore. He went bankrupt at 22, but later built a $300 million company. Now, he teaches entrepreneurship through books and coaching. You could write a book like Why My Business Failed and How I Made Millions from It. You could sell online courses on platforms like Udemy or Teachable, teaching others how to avoid your mistakes. You could even charge $5,000 to $50,000 per event to speak at conferences and teach others from your experience. The amazing thing is that God used these failures to refine and strengthen them for even greater impact. What was meant for evil, God turned for good. Genesis 50:20. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first TV job for being too emotionally invested in stories. Yet this became her superpower as she built a media empire worth billions. Failure doesn't define you. It can refine you for what's next. Part 2: How to monetize and profit from business failures. E. Pivot into a new opportunity. C. Sell your story. Revelation 12:11 says, "They triumphed by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony." D. Repurpose assets and intellectual property. Ecclesiastes 3:6 says, "A time to search ye." Launch a failure-based business. James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials." Part 3: Biblical mindset for profiting from failure. A. Stewardship and reinvestment. C. Divine connections. Your business failure is not a tombstone. It's a stepping stone.